Hello students, in my last video class I have discussed about I have given you a brief description about how or what were the circumstances that led to the Quit India movement. Today I will discuss it from your book. The Second World War, which broke out in 1939 to 45, it broke out in September 1939, and in December 1941 Japan entered the war against England and started advancing towards India. Taking this opportunity, Gandhiji realized that if the Japanese enters India, there will be fighting between the Japanese and the British. In the due course, there will be a lot of damage to the Indians. So gradually, the Japanese started proceeding towards India. After capturing Malaya and Singapore, they turned their attention, they turned to Burma, and by March 1942 they were at the forefront of the Indian frontiers. This was imminent danger of a Japanese attack on India, and the possibility of Indian soldiers supporting the Japanese invaders posed a threat to the Britishers. That means you know that the Indian soldiers who were arrested by the Japanese, ultimately they were handed over and they form a part of the Azad Hind Fauj. Now this Azad Hind Fauj, instead of supporting, so long the Britishers were showing their dominance because of the help of the soldiers, but now the table has turned towards them, against them. The Indian soldiers started supporting the Japanese, and alarmed by the Japanese, the British made another offer to the Indians. So as I was telling you in my previous video, that time to time they were used to give the Cadbury chocolates. So now the Britishers need the help of the Indians, so they sent a Cripps mission. The Cripps mission, the Congress ministries actually, which was formed in 1937, resigned in 1939 on the ground that the Britishers did not keep up to their promise. Inability to support its demand for independence. Now the Viceroy Linlithgow gave the august offer, and he offered only dominion status in an unspecified time in the near future. The entry of Japan in the war posed a serious threat to the British Empire. The government realized that it required the support of the Indian leaders in the war. Accordingly, Prime Minister Winston Churchill sent Sir Stafford Cripps, a seasoned diplomat. He was a very experienced person. So Winston Churchill, having no other option, sent Mr. Stafford Cripps to have a discussion with the Indian leaders, and he came with a group of with the fresh proposals of constitutional reforms in India. What were the proposals? First of all, a constitution making body consisting of members of the lower house of the Indian legislature and the representatives of the princely states, who will be elected by their rulers, to be formed. Second was, India would be given dominion status immediately after the end of the war. Next, it envisages the Federation of British India and the Indian states as a dominion like that of Canada, Australia and New Zealand within the British Commonwealth. As I told you, Commonwealth means the countries which were the colonies of the British were known as the Commonwealth. Britain would accept the Constitution of India, but there were certain ifs and buts. Certain conditions has to be fulfilled. What are they? If any British province did not wish to join the Federation, it could retain its present position, and the British government would give it the same status as that of the Indian Union. So this was also purposefully done by the British to create many small India. You see here, from this you can understand that the British provinces, if they did not want to join, then they can remain independent. So that means several small India would be created by the help of the British. Next, a treaty would be signed between the constitution making body and the British government, covering all subjects, including the transfer of power, including the right of the minorities. So always the minorities are kept in account, kept in given more importance, because the Muslim League, keeping them in mind, so everything is done. Indian leaders were invited to participate in the council of their country and the Commonwealth, and the power of the viceroy would remain as hitherto, and he would be responsible for the defense of the country. So this was another objectionable point, that though the viceroy would be there and he will be responsible for the defense of the country, that means defense, the most important department, was kept under the British. The most important department was kept under the British. Now, both the Congress as well as the Muslim League did not accept. Did not accept. Why? You see, it offered dominion status, at the same time granted the provinces the right to secede. That means right to break away. That is, here the intentions of the Britishers were understood, that this provision was made a concession to the League's demand. Why this was kept? Because the League's demand for creating a separate state of Pakistan was also taken into account. Next, most important, the power of the viceroy was remained undiminished during the war, and he was still responsible for the defense of the country. Third was, the very foundation of the British Empire seemed to be uncertain at the moment. The long-term offer of dominion status was as Gandhiji remarked, that the post-dated check on a failing bank. The British government was itself not sure that how long it will continue to rule over India, and they were making long promises, big promises. That is why Gandhiji remarked it as a post-dated check of a failing bank. Now, I have already explained to you what is the post-dated check of a failing bank in your online class. And the people from the princely states had no right to send their representatives, rather they would be sent by their own rulers. So they had no right to be representative in the proposed constitution making body. So in this way, for these few reasons, the Cripps mission was not accepted by both the Congress and the Muslim League. Next, after this, Gandhiji told the British to quit and leave India to God. If that is too much, then leave her to anarchy. So then Gandhiji started the Quit India resolution on 8th of August. On 8th of August, the resolution was passed by the Indian National Congress that the Quit India movement would be started. The Congress Working Committee met at Wardha in July 1942 and demanded the immediate withdrawal of the Britain from India. It adopted a resolution known as the Quit India Movement, which was passed on 8th of August 1942. The resolution said that the continuance of British rule in India was neither good for India nor the success of the allied nation. It insisted that a provisional government should be formed in India. If this demand was not granted, the Congress would start a non-violent mass struggle against the leadership, under the leadership of Gandhiji, who said, "We shall do or die." Now remember, the Quit India movement, the most important slogan given by Gandhi was "do or die," or "karenge ya marenge." We shall either free India or die in the attempt. Now we have the three significance of the Quit India movement. The three significance, they are the displayed the depth of national feeling. People acquired great capacity for struggle and sacrifice and made the British realize that their days are numbered. So the significance, though we can say that the revolt of 1942 was fully suppressed by the British, though it was not very significant, successful, but it had a lasting impact on the freedom struggle. The British themselves have accepted the view that from 1857 this was the most dangerous movement by the Indians. So what was the significance? It displayed the depth of national feeling. The national feeling arose within the Indians. Every Indian was now prepared to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the nation. And people acquired great capacity to sacrifice. And now, when the Britishers realized that now no longer the Indians could be dominated by or suppressed by force, now the Britishers realized that their days are numbered in India. Now they will have to leave India. So with this we come to the end of this chapter, and I will see that how much has been done in the online class. After that we will start with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and forward block. Till then, students, all of you read the chapter thoroughly, go through the video also. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.